At this point the bandsaw is mostly done, but there's still a few enhancements to make on it, like adding a power switch. I'm using a regular shallow wall socket, partially because it's cheap and partially because it's shallow and it fits in that spot. The best place to run the wire is just right through the frame. The switch just controls a socket on the back of the machine because I haven't fully decided which motor I should use with this bandsaw yet. Right now the maximum resaw height on this bandsaw is 28 centimeters or 11 inches, but I can do a bit better than that. I drilled an extra hole in this clamp so I can position it further up. And with the clamp further up, I can move the blade guide way up here, except I've got some interference with the post right here, because the blade guide can come back further than the post for part of it, so I'll have to cut a notch out of here. I bought this oscillating tool mostly because it was on sale, but maybe once a year it comes in really handy. The other problem is the cover. It hits the blade guides when they're this far up. I could just always leave the cover partway open if I'm resawing this high, but I think I'll cut some notches out so I can still close it. So now I have 13 inches or 33 centimeters of resaw height. And that's about as much as my planer can handle, so I think that will be enough. I've been thinking about buying a 1mm thick piece of stainless steel sheet metal to cover this table with, but then I tried this. This is a door from a dryer that I saved, and it just fits. It just overhangs on either side by a little bit, and I think I'll cut this a little bit round so that I can have it flush with the outside edge. So now it fits perfectly here, but rather than try to cut this part off, I made another piece to extend the table, and that way I keep the nice round corners. So the idea is that this sheet is not permanently attached. In fact, it has to come off for blade changes. I didn't want to come out with a slot to the right because I figured I'd be more likely to get caught with a log on this side. And I came out to the front instead of the back because this distance is shorter than this distance. And this ugly spot back here, that's where the handle used to be. I flattened that. So time for some more bandsaw abuse. This log comes from Paul at Canadian Woodwork. Paul sells a lot of slabs from Urban Trees. Now by screwing this board onto the side, I get a flat reference surface, and that way I don't have to flatten it on the jointer. I thought I had enough clearance, but I need the extended position for the blade guides for this log. So this time I went a little bit faster because I'm using a 3/4 horsepower motor from an old table saw, and I'm running the saw at 2400 feet per minute, or about 700 meters per minute. So in my last video I said that I will have plans for sale for this bandsaw, but it will probably take me till January until they're done. Well, it's now 4 weeks later and it's January and the plans are finally done, and it's one of the most detailed set of plans I've ever made.